Okay, let's just get right into it. If you've ever felt like modern dating is this confusing, high-stakes game where nobody tells you the rules, you are definitely not alone. It can be just exhausting. But what if there was a clear playbook? Well, today, we're going to break down some expert insights to give you exactly that, a straightforward guide to navigating the whole thing.
And this quote from family scholar Charles Z. Stokes, man, it really hits the nail on the head. That feeling of insecurity? It's not just in your head. It's practically built into the system we're all using. And that's really the core problem we're going to tackle. How do you build a real, genuine connection in a world that kind of feels designed to work against it?
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into exactly why dating feels so hard right now. Then, we'll build a totally new approach from the inside out. We'll start with mindset, then move to action, and then we'll explore a pretty radical new way to think about commitment. And of course, we'll wrap up with your next move.
All right, part one, dating's insecurity problem. Let's just, validate some of those frustrations and really look at the reasons the dating world can feel so shaky.
So what's really going on here? Well, our sources point to a few big things. First up, this consumerist mindset, where it feels like we're all just shopping for partners. This leads to a really painful power imbalance where, as scholar Charles Stokes points out, the person who cares the least has all the control. Then that leads to this constant decision fatigue. You're always wondering, should I stick around or is there a better option out there? And to top it all off, as dating coach Apollonia Ponti explains, so much of this is happening in these virtual relationships where we text for weeks, building this false sense of intimacy that never actually leads to anything real.
So, that's the problem. It sounds kind of bleak, right? But here's the thing. The solution doesn't start with trying to change the apps or the culture. It starts with you. So let's shift gears and talk about the inner game, because a change in mindset can literally change everything.
The word needy gets thrown around a lot, but author Mark Manson gives us this incredibly powerful definition. It's not about how many times you text someone, it's about your core motivation. Are you doing something to get a certain reaction from her, to get her validation? Or are you acting from a place of your own self-respect? The moment you start valuing her perception of you more than your own, that's when your behavior becomes unattractive, no matter how cool you're trying to be. And this is the shift right here. The goal is not to fake confidence to try and impress someone. The real goal is to genuinely invest in yourself, your hobbies, your career, your health, for you and you alone. Attraction, as Manson argues, just becomes this natural byproduct of a life you're excited to live. You stop trying so hard to appear attractive and you just start being attractive.
Now, let's tackle another really loaded word, vulnerability. We're often taught that it's a weakness, but researcher Brené Brown, who's cited here in The Essential Man, defines it totally differently. It's uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. When you look at it that way, being vulnerable isn't about being weak or oversharing. It's about having the guts to show up when you can't control the outcome. It's actually a huge act of courage.
So this is absolutely crucial to understand. Not all vulnerability is created equal. On the left, you've got needy vulnerability. This is when you share something heavy to get a specific reaction. You're looking for her approval or pity. It basically puts the burden on her to fix you, and it pushes attraction away. But then on the right, you have grounded vulnerability. This comes from a place of self-acceptance. It's what one source calls having a strong spine with an open heart. It's a true act of courage, and that is what builds incredible attraction.
Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now, how do we actually turn that into real-world action? How do we take this grounded, non-needy mindset and, actually use it to connect with somebody?
We tend to think that connection is all about these big, deep, dramatic conversations or these grand romantic gestures. But the research points to something totally different. The real work of building intimacy, it happens in the smallest, most boring, seemingly insignificant moments of everyday life. The Gottman Institute has a brilliant term for this. They call them bids for connection. And they can be incredibly simple. I mean, look at this example. What have you been up to at work? It seems like nothing, right? But it's an opening. It's a little invitation to connect. A strong, healthy relationship is built on literally thousands of these tiny moments. You make a bid, and your partner turns towards that bid with interest instead of ignoring it.
Of course, for every right move there's a bunch of common ways we can accidentally sabotage a connection without even realizing it. So let's just quickly run through a few practical things to avoid that can make a massive difference.
Coach Apollonia Ponti gives us a fantastic, super actionable list here. First, never ask, why is a beautiful girl like you single? It just sounds like a line and implies something's wrong with her. Second, don't talk about exes, yours or hers. It brings all that baggage right into the present moment. Third, don't put the planning on her. Take the initiative. It shows confidence and genuine interest. Next, stop the endless texting that goes nowhere. Texting is for logistics, for setting up the next date. And finally, don't invite her to your place on a first date. It just signals low effort and that you're only after one thing.
Okay, mindset? Check. Action? Check. But what if the whole game is rigged against us? Remember that insecurity problem we started with? Well, this brings us to a really fascinating idea. A new blueprint that offers a better, more secure structure for dating itself.
So, to fight back against the chaos of modern dating, Charles Stokes proposes this concept of time-bound commitments. So forget the vague, let's just see where this goes thing. Instead, you create clear, communicated promises that have a specific end date. It totally replaces that fuzzy ambiguity with a real, shared game plan.
And this chart just lays out the difference perfectly. The modern way on the left is vague. It can end at any second, which creates really low security. The goal is just to see what happens. But with the time-bound model, the commitment is a crystal clear promise for a set amount of time. This creates high security, which allows you both to relax and actually build trust. The goal isn't fuzzy, it's to fulfill your promises and then make a clear decision.
So you might be wondering, okay, how does this actually work? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Step 1, you agree on a specific end date, say 3 weeks from now. Step 2, you make positive, concrete promises to each other, like we'll go on 2 real dates a week. Step 3, and this is the big one, you honor that commitment for the full 3 weeks, even if you have some doubts. It builds trust. And finally, on that end date, you meet up and you make a clear choice. Either you create a new commitment or you part ways with respect, knowing you both kept your word.
So we've gone from the core problem of insecurity to the inner game of mindset to the outer game of action and all the way to a completely new blueprint for how to structure commitment. This brings us to the final and honestly the most important part, how you turn this playbook into actual practice. And really, this is what it all boils down to. So much of the dating advice out there is about performance. It's about saying the right lines, faking the right body language. But as Mark Manson says, real attraction isn't about appearing attractive. It's about being attractive. So the ultimate question isn't, what do I need to do to get a woman? It's, who do I need to become? And that simple shift from external validation to internal growth, well, that's where the real work and the real reward is.